In this NUAGE tutorial, we're going to talk about editing audio events using the scroll wheel on the NUAGE master unit. Now, we've talked a lot about selecting objects and using cut, copy, and paste and move and the functions that are up here in the edit area. But then we have these dedicated event editing buttons down here, which include the fades, trimming of the head and tail, the volume handle, and then the split function. So to begin with, I have this one audio event selected here in the project. And once that event is selected, then I can use these event editing tools. So to begin with, let's trim. So wherever the cursor is, if I press the trim head, the beginning of that event will be moved to wherever the cursor is. Even if I just position the cursor and just touch the button once, I can trim it there. Now, if the cursor is positioned outside of the event boundaries, the trim functions won't work. They won't expand the event. You have to be within the event. So if you want to trim the event or more open or enlarge it using the trim, you need to be within the event first, press trim head, and then expand the event in that method. Same works for the trim tail. The fades also work in a very similar fashion. Once you're inside the event boundary, you can adjust the fade out or the fade in. Pretty simple, pretty straight ahead. Also, whenever you're within the event boundary, you can adjust the volume handle just by pressing the volume handle button and adjusting the scroll wheel. You can add gain, you can reduce gain. Last but not least is the split function. This just simply allows you to split the selected event wherever the cursor is at that point. So if I position the cursor here, just say ahead of that transient, and I hit the split button, now I have two events. And I can do that repeatedly, so I can just split it, split it, split it again. This is very handy when you are doing a large amount of linear editing one track and doing a lot of little edits and fades and splits and that sort of stuff, like editing voiceover, that sort of stuff. This makes it very handy to dice up one large recording into smaller pieces, trim those pieces, adjust their fades, volume handles, etc. So for example, I could take this event here, split it here, then adjust the volume down of that piece, trim this one here, adjust a fade, go back, maybe move this closer, then adjust the fade out. You can get the idea of how quick this might end up being, depending on the type of editing that you're doing. So there you have it. Those are the audio event editing tools on the NUAGE master unit and how they work in conjunction with the selected audio events in the project. We'll be back with more editing tutorials.